Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey here at the Danbury Arena in downtown Danbury, Connecticut. Fans have waited 2 long years to hear the words, but it is finally hockey night in Danbury. Hello, everybody. Casey Bryant here, bringing you exclusive live coverage of Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey all season long, alongside my partner for the evening, Zach McGinnis. Joining us later will be Jack O'Mara. And Zach, fans could not be more excited to have hockey back in the city. It's got to be a whirlwind for all of these fans to finally have the game that they love so passionately back in their home rink.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that, Casey. You take a look at this team. You know, there was a video put out earlier today talking about how Danbury is a hockey city. Always has been, always will be. And you know what? It's true. The atmosphere here is going to be electric. You can see how excited everybody is, and that goes for the organization as well. The players, they're hopping up and down on their feet. The ownership, how happy they are that the thousands upon thousands of dollars that went into renovations here at the Danbury Ice Arena, it's all come together for this game here tonight, and there's no place we'd rather be.
And not only that, it's funny you mentioned the ownership, because when you look around this arena right now, it is a completely different arena. Fans would not recognize it. It's completely painted in Hat Tricks colors in orange and gray. You've got a brand new extension of the concession stand, the Rabbit Hole, out in the main concourse area. Brand new suites up in the second deck. This is almost an unrecognizable building from back when the Danbury Trashers were in town in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, you know, the Danbury Trashers, they're the reason why this arena existed. Jimmy Galante and his son AJ running that team. I've heard a rumor that perhaps they'll be in attendance tonight. We'll see what happens with that, but how great would that be for them as well? Getting to see everything that they started, and now this new ownership group led by Chris Bonino and Herm Sorcher, what they've been able to do here. There's orange everywhere, and you know what? The fans, they've taken to it. For too long, it almost seems. The teams here were blue, green, some combination thereof.
Right, you want to get the whale brand in there. It is Connecticut.
It is very much Connecticut, but now this is Hat Tricks Company, and I think that the fans, they like the uniforms. You see a smattering of them around already, along with all the other uniforms for teams that have called this arena home. But really, it's just the excitement here. It's palpable. You can feel it in the stands. You can feel it on the concourse. I think we're going to feel it on the ice as well.
The Hat Tricks are going to be led by a new head coach and general manager in Billy McCreary, a person that Danburyans have wanted to hate for so long, but he's definitely a guy that you want on your side, and he wants a Danbury hockey team defending your building, defending your squadron. What do you expect from Billy McCreary's boys here tonight?
Oh, I'm expecting them to come out fast. I'm coming them to come out hard, and I'm expecting them to hit early. This is a team, the Port Huron Prowlers, you want to set the tone against them early. They're led by Joe Pace behind the bench, both senior and junior, depending on the game it seems, but this is a team that can hit. This is a team that can skate. You take a look at the Port Huron Prowlers roster. You see guys who are familiar to folks from the Hat City, including Dalton Jay. Dalton Jay put up 50 goals here just a couple years ago with the Danbury Titans. He's wearing the wrong colors tonight. But this is a team that's going to want to come out and make a statement early on. Danbury needs to be ready for that, because they'll be trying to make their own statement themselves.
And, of course, the Port Huron Prowlers are led by some lethal scorers like Dalton Jay and also Matt Robertson, two of the leading scorers, second and third respectively last year in the FPHL in scoring. But Danbury has some weapons of their own, namely number 96, Matthias Kasich. He's going to be a guy that certainly the Hat Tricks are relying on. He's a physical, fast, young forward with a lot of skill. He's exactly the kind of player that the Danbury Hat Tricks want.
Kasich, you're absolutely right. One of the most anticipated signings over the summer. He's 22 years old from the Czech Republic. He's coming over to North America now, but this is a guy who can shoot. This is a guy who can score as well. He'll have Phil Bronner on the ice with him. Phil Bronner is a veteran of Danbury hockey.
Another former Titan.
Indeed, and somebody who as one of the older players now, you know, Bronner, he's only 30 years old. That's not old. Let's be honest. But at the same time, this is someone who has played at this level before. This is someone who knows what it's like here. His veteran leadership is going to be so important for this locker room because you know what, Casey? I think they're going to have a couple jitters coming out here. It's their home opener. For some of these guys, it's their first time playing as a professional hockey player. You know, there's some excitement to that.
Absolutely. I mean, Phil Bronner is one of those guys that McCreary singled out as wanting to be a leader on this team. And there's plenty of other veterans on the team and people who carry themselves as veterans. And one of those guys is one of the guys starting on defense, Cruz Listmayer, the nephew of longtime NHL enforcer Colton Orr. He's a hard-hitting, bruising defenseman. He's only 22 years old, but he carries himself like a seasoned vet. And he's definitely one of those guys that is going to be wanting to shut down these high-octane scorers on the Prowlers tonight.
Well, you're talking about the blue line, and Listmayer, yeah, he comes in at 6'3". That's a big boy back there. But the folks on the blue line, getting back to veterans, perhaps the minor league veteran of all time, Nick Niedert, in goal. And he is 37 years old. He's played for more teams than 37. But this is a player who personifies what it's like to be a veteran, who personifies the perseverance, the sacrifice that you have to put into being a hockey player to last as long as he has at this level. It's a great example for the rookies on this team.
Niedert will be between the pipes in our Ameriprise Financial goaltender matchup. It will be Nick Niedert going up against number 31, Chris Pullen, in net for the Port Huron Prowlers. That goaltender matchup is brought to you by Ameriprise Financial. Visit their website and talk to Derek Packett today. And Nick Niedert is one of those guys. He garnered national attention last year for his superb performance in the ECHL as an emergency backup who got to start the game and got a win.
And, you know, that was Niedert's first win in the ECHL in a few years. It was his first appearance in the ECHL as well. But that's the kind of goalie that he is. He comes in then as a 36-year-old, a new team, and what does he do? He plays his hearts out and comes away with the victory in the ECHL. A great memory for him, but again, great experience that he can pass along to the rookies here.
Niedert is a character, too, in the locker room. I mean, Niedert is a personable guy, and you talk about what it means to be a true veteran. He is someone who understands the rungs of minor league hockey. He's kind to the people around him on both his roster and the organization, all of the ownership. We're going to turn you over now to the announcement of the roster for the Danbury Hat Tricks. We'll turn it over to PA announcer Kieran Stack.
From Chino Hills, California, number 24, Kyle Gonzalez. From Bakersfield, California, number 27, Corey Anderson. From Ottawa, Canada, number 29, Jordan Gray. From Clayton, New Jersey, number 30, Tom McGuffin. From Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, number 32, Tim Hanlon. From Hudson, Iowa, number 39, Nick Newberg. From Spring, North Carolina, number 44, Assistant Captain Steve Brown. From Toronto, Canada, number 77, Nicola Yvette. From Kharkov, Ukraine, number 81, Vladislav Garvin. From Prague, Czech Republic, number 96, Matthias Hasted. And head coach and general manager of your 2019-2020 Danbury Hat-Tricks, Billy McCreary. Assistant coach, John Krupinski. Assistant coach, Adam Blanchett. Goaltending coach, Matt Boydie. And head athletic trainer, Amy Schneider. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019-20 Danbury Hat-Tricks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. Here to sing the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome Katie Diamond.
Welcome back to Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey. Katie Diamond on the national anthem tonight. And we thank PA announcer Kieran Stack for the announcement of the Danbury Hat-Tricks. We have a ceremonial puck drop scheduled at center ice. Your starting lineups, for those who may not have heard, first are the visiting Port Huron Prowlers. On defense, they'll have number 69, Paul Arnott, alongside number 24, Matt Stoya. On the forward lines, they have some dangerous scorers, number 15, Matt Robertson, and number 92, Dalton Jay. will be flanking centerman Matt Graham. For the Danbury Hat Tricks, you will have Phil Bronner on the forward line with Corey Anderson and Matthias Kasich. On defense, you will have Kyle Gonzalez and Cruz Listmayer. The goaltending matchup brought to you by Ameriprise Financial. In goal for the Port Huron Prowlers, you have number 31, Chris Paulin. And for the Danbury Hat Tricks, the veteran, number 39, Nick Nieder. It's an exciting time, Zach. It's almost puck drop. It's hard not to get the butterflies before a first season.
Well, you know, Casey, when you get to the professional level, you know, so many of these players out here, they played in high school. They played at the junior level. Some of them never even thought that they'd be able to become a professional hockey player, and yet here they are just one puck drop away from making that dream come true. Taking a look at the goaltenders for Chris Paulin last year, played 8 games for the Port Huron Prowlers. Didn't have the best stats, though. A goals against average of .498, a save percentage of .901. Those numbers were even worse in the 2 playoff games that Port Huron played last year. Meanwhile, Nick Nieder, well, last year, 9 games for the Elmira Enforcers, a .344 goals against average, a .907 save percentage, and you know he's going to want to put on a show today.
Naturally. I mean, he's fired up to be in front of the fans that he was a part of back in the day with the Danbury Whalers. He's used to this city. He's excited to be back for another tour of service. And it's funny you mentioned the Nick Nieder, because Nick Nieder in those 9 games, 7-2. He's a guy who not only knows how to play, but he knows how to win. We're getting ready for puck drop at center ice, and away we go. Lining up at the center dot, Corey Anderson going up against Matt Graham. Puck is dropping. The Hat Tricks have won the first face-off in Danbury Hat Tricks history. A little bit of trivia.
A good start.
Behind the net, Listmayer plays it over to the right wing. Phil Bronner, he takes a check along the midboards. Behind the end line it goes as Listmayer throws a hard hit on Graham and brings him down. And there you go. There's that physical presence on the blue line Listmayer has been dying to bring. Out into the neutral zone it goes. Giving chase is number 77, Paul Arnott. Up to Graham. Back to the Danbury blue line, crossing the way, making his first appearance is Sebastian Crystal playing it up the left wing, and giving chase will be Anderson in deep at the far side corner. Arnott throws a stick check, leaves it back for Bronner, the bearded man who is one of the leaders on this team, wearing the alternate captain A on the left shoulder patch, as that one gets touched up for an icing by Sebastian Crystal, and we get our first stoppage 48 seconds into the first period.
Right by the blue line there in front of the Port Huron bench, you see Corey Anderson missing on the body check there, but that's a reflection of the coaching staff of this Danbury Hat Tricks team. It's a reflection of what these players want to bring, especially in front of the great crowd that's here at the Danbury Arena.
Johnny Ruiz lining up for the face-off draw against number 72, Zaxel Kanich. He's another dangerous scorer as that shot gets saved by Paul, and rebound out in front is steered aside into the far side corner. Whacking at it along the far side midboards. Now a turnover shot, they score! Johnny Ruiz! The Danbury Hat Tricks lead it 1-0.
Opportunistic play by Johnny Ruiz. As the puck went back to the point, he's able to pick it up at the top of the circle. This is one that Chris Paulin's going to want back. It beats him low to the glove side. He got a piece of it, not enough. But how about Johnny Ruiz? Danbury Hat Trick history, the first ever goal in Danbury Hat Tricks history.
And the winner of the Goal Song Contest Rock and Roll Part 2 playing over the loudspeakers after the Danbury Hat Tricks goal.
You know, Casey, when it comes to the Danbury Hat Tricks players, even though they're on their side, I don't know if they've ever heard Section 102 before. The fans will certainly make themselves known.
They'll give Nicolas Lavec the primary assist on the goal. It's Ruiz's first goal. Ruiz was a member of the UMass Dartmouth D3 squad last year, so this is his first shift, first pro game, first pro goal. How about that?
Not a bad start at all, Casey.
Taking it up the right wing and bringing it down is Listmayer. Throws another check, and Listmayer has another body collide with him in the far side corner, and he shrugs that one off. Listmayer is truly making his presence felt as that sharp angled try is paddled aside by Nieder. Into the near side corner it goes. Picked up by Howie. He takes a check. It's kept in at the near side point. Whacking at it and now controlling it is Howie as he plays it back to Listmayer. Up the left wing, one-touch pass and into the zone, but Port Huron is there to break that up. 2 minutes into the first period, 1-0 is your score in favor of the Danbury Hat Tricks as we get our stoppage in play.
Oh, good decision by Nick Niedert there. Puck was chipped in by Justin Portillo. And Niedert, he saw that his defensemen were outnumbered. It was 3-on-2. Danbury was in the middle of a line change. You know what? Hold on to things. Get the defensive zone face-off. Get some fresh legs out on the ice. Face-off to the left of Niedert now.
Yep, so now a draw is won by Pure Huron, and a shot from the high circle is blockered aside by Niedert, who is up to the task in his first few shots on goal in the game. Played out in front, and that getting a glove on it was Niedert.
What a save by Nick Niedert, selling out and getting the glove on it.
3-on-2 developing the other way. Here comes Mealy on the left wing. Stops short, looking across for Bronner, and it goes over his stick. Completing that three-man unit is Matthias Kasich. And now turning aside, and up comes Dalton J on the left wing. In with Robertson, 2-on-1. Paddled aside by Niedert, but kept in. Now a shot, they score! A yawning net mouth, and it's Robertson who pots it, and it's 1-1.
Oh, not much that Nick Niedert can do on that situation, as the Danbury defense really was nowhere to be found. It was a turnover in the Port Huron end from the pass from Mealy to Bronner. The Prowlers are able to come back 3-on-2 the other way. Niedert, normally he'll go a bit sharper on the angle trying to clear it. Instead, he sends it closer to the blue line. He puts it right onto the stick of Paul Arnott, and from there, everything goes downhill.
It's a great play by Arnott to keep it in at the near side point. It's great awareness, and to find Robertson, who is one of the most potent scorers in the league, 43 goals last year and 102 points. He's already well on his way to getting back up to the triple digits. He's got his first one already. Teeing up a slap shot is Ruiz, trigger happy now that he's got his first goal under his belt. As now a scrum along the far side midboards. Jostling forward is number 22, Christers Bormanis. He has that dug out by Port Huron. Up the right wing they come. It's Stoya. Turned aside by Niedert, into the near side corner it goes. Platzer. Fabian Platzer, one of the only Italians in the league that I can think of.
You don't see too many of them. Perhaps the most well-known by way of Canada, Matt Caranci, actually was offered a spot on the Italian national team a few years ago.
Well, there you go. Not too many. It's not a hockey hotbed, but there are some prospects that come through there, it would appear.
No, Italy obviously played during the Torino Olympics, where they actually dressed a 16-year-old defenseman in games against, well, Canada, the United States. Didn't go too well for them. Before that, they hadn't been in the Olympics in over 50 years.
Get the ball to the Italians, in the word of Kicking and Screaming, the classic sports movie. As the pass out to the high slot, Gonzalez drops it back, and that shot is blocked out in front by a skate. A rebound try, poking at it was Anderson, and getting a blocker on it was Paulin. Playing the cycle game now, it's Gavrik. Dropping it back for Listmeyer. Can't find the puck in his skates. Now gets it behind the net. Quick pass out in front is off the stick. Looking to exit is Port Huron number 22, Haitham Oid. Hard hitting Listmeyer is finally felled. That's a tall tree to chop down, but he finally is brought down to his knees, if only just for a moment. And it looks like we will get our first penalty of the game, I believe.
Looks like it's just going to be an icing call, but good to see Vlad Gavrik back out on the ice. Gavrik played with the Danbury Whalers back in the 2014-15 season. 3 goals, 3 assists in 10 games played. He also played for the Berkshire Battalion that year as well, went up to the SPHL. He's been over in Europe ever since, playing in the Ukraine and in Slovakia. Good to have him back here in the States.
4.5 minutes gone by in the first period. 1-1 is your score. As taking it up the gut of the ice is Arnott. Looking for Robertson on the right wing. Going back to get it is Crystal, who tries to take a swing and roulette style around the boards, but a one-time slap shot is gloved and held by Niedert. 4 minutes and 49 seconds gone by in the frame, and Niedert, except for that one goal, which you could hardly fault him on considering how open Robertson was, he's looked sharp and he's controlling his rebounds.
No, Niedert's doing a real good job in the net on that last shot from the point. Robertson actually got a stick on it. It changed the angle of its approach, and a good job by Niedert down in his butterfly to keep the holes closed.
Anderson behind the net is hassled by 2 different Prowlers. Loose puck out in front. Oh, what a stop by Niedert! Stacking the pads and getting a glove on it. Sensational stop, Dominic Hasek style by the veteran.
We talked about Nieder being a veteran. Well, that's a veteran move right there. Nieder down in his butterfly. He has to try and move laterally while also trying to track the puck through a whole lot of traffic. He stacks the pads, allows the puck to hit him. That's two great saves by Nick Nieder already so far.
We'll have a face-off out in the neutral zone after that offsides.
Go see Ralph the Ice Cream Guy, the official ice cream of the
Out to take the face-off for Danbury will be Ruiz. He's got Levesque on his left, and number 22, Christers Bormanis, on his right. Taking the draw opposite him will be number 72, Zach Sulkanich. It's won by Danbury up the left wing, but out of reach of Levesque. So back to retrieve will be Larry Vertienen as he plays it into the zone. Prowlers in deep behind the end line. Hard check by Listmeyer to staple gun a man along the wall. One-handed poke, and Levesque is off to the races. Puck is in now the midsection of Ruiz, trying to cross the blue line, loses the handle on it. We have a delayed call coming up. And it looks like it will be a slash.
Oh, we'll get to check out this Danbury Hat-Tricks power play for the first time this season. They'll have the offensive zone face-off. And Casey, this is one of the new rules as well. The Danbury Hat-Tricks get to choose what side of the ice they want their face-off to be taken. It's going to be Zach Sulkanich, who sits 2 minutes for slashing. And it looks like they're going to start off to the right-hand side of Chris Paulin. I'm curious to see how the team uses this to their advantage.
Face-off will be to the right of Paulin. It will be Anderson out there with Gavrik and Gonzalez. Taking the face-off for Port Huron will be Matt Graham.
And Casey, you notice how they have Corey Anderson out there. He's a left-hand shot, so he's going to be on his backhand here. Look for him to try and win it back to Listmeyer and set things up.
Up along the left side wall, Bronner with a good job of harassing his man along the boards, but it is cleared down the length of the ice by Port Huron. We're 6 minutes into the action. We've got 1:45 to go on the slashing penalty to Sulkanich. We get a first look at Billy McCreary's special teams unit as Gonzalez waits for his unit to get set up. Hard pass over to the left side. Entering in with speed is Anderson. He's got Bronner behind him. Wraps it around roulette style to Gonzalez. Drops it down low. Anderson has Gavrik now switching places with him. Bronner in the blue paint. Gavrik at the near side corner. Out to Gonzalez at the point. A lot of puck movement, but being kept to the perimeter right now is Danbury, as Port Huron with the diamond formation on their penalty kill. Now over to the far side, it's Bormanis. Cycles it down low with Bronner. Keeping the feet moving is Danbury. Bronner to his right, Gonzalez. The shot attempt is swallowed up by Graham and cleared out on the backhand.
Well, Casey, you mentioned how they were keeping it to the outside. That's exactly what they were doing. Port Huron doing a good job of blocking the shooting lanes.
Gonzalez enters back in. Pitch and catch with Bormanis. Bormanis at the high circle. Drops it down low to the far side corner. It's Gavrik. Extended shift here as there's 45 seconds to go in the power play. Far side circle. Bormanis has Gonzalez at the high slot calling for it. Instead, opts to cycle it down low. Gavrik in the near side corner.
They're bunching up together. 3 guys in the same corner.
Gonzalez at the near side point. Crosses the way. Bormanis. One-time shot goes over the net. 30 seconds to go. Here's Gavrik. Trading places Anderson, crosses the way, looking to the bumper position. In between the hash marks is taken away and carried up the ice now with speed. Here comes Dalton Jay, one of the most lethal shorthanded players in the league. Port Huron led the league with 14 shorties last season. 10 seconds to go in the power play. One last rush opportunity for Levesque and company. Levesque, who is serving a dual role as both player and coach out there on the ice as a man is brought down to the ice. That'll do it for the Ferrer Electric power play. Now carrying it up 2-on-2. Here's Ruiz. Streaking to the net is Kasich, looking for him with the one-hand shot. It's turned aside by Paulin. 8 minutes into the first period. 1-1 is your score as this will go for an icing.
Well, not the most impressive of power plays for the Danbury Hat-Tricks early on here.
Time.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, what they were doing was they were playing just a simple overload. There's nothing wrong with that. You put Phil Bronner, a big body in front of net. The problem was they weren't able to get any movement going. When you get no movement, it makes it very easy for the penalty killers to cover all the passing lanes. That's exactly what happened. They had 2 shot attempts. One was blocked. One went over the top of the net.
So we'll have a face-off now to the left of Paulin. Taking the draw will be Josh Newberg, who is a flex player for Billy McCreary, can play both forward and defense. They have him on the center tonight as he fights for the puck in the near side corner, has a man hampering him from behind. Leaves it back for Adam Howie, and giving chase is Gordy Bunnell. Bunnell drops it back to Howie, looking for the wraparound. Now out to the point, Listmayer, looking for the redirection in front. It's turned aside harmlessly, and it will be corralled now by Zulkanich. 8.5 minutes gone by. Turnover, set up in front. Bunnell, spinorama shot off the post. Oh, if it had gone in, it would have been a beauty.
Would have been very pretty.
And now another try for Bunnell. Trailing shot by Listmayer is simply kept into the zone. A good shift out here for the grind line for the Danbury Hat Tricks.
I'm not sure why Bunnell just didn't shoot at that point.
He's had a man coming on. I think he thought his defender was closer than he actually was, as we get a stick slashed out of the hands of Josh Newberg.
But I think it's going to be Newberg who goes to the box here.
Bunnell, it was Newberg's stick that went flying up into the air, but it will be Newberg as he voices his protestations to the referee, but no such luck. It will be 2 minutes for slashing.
Yeah, so Newberg will sit for 2, and just as we got to see the Danbury power play for the first time, now we get to see the Port Huron power play for the first time. And you take a look at the shooters that they have out there, it's probably one of the most dangerous power plays in the league. Danbury Hat Tricks defensemen, they need to stay close. They need to make sure they don't run around here.
Graham wins the face-off draw, tries to get it back to Jay, but now here's a shorthanded 2-on-1. Here's Bronner with Anderson. Bronner entering in, drags the toe, looking to pass it out to the slot and couldn't get a stick on the puck. Almost a prime shorthanded opportunity for Bronner and company as Anderson goes off for a change.
Oh, he almost had it. The puck just rolled off the heel of his stick. Not even the toe, the heel of his stick. Anderson was unmarked, would have had a nice opportunity.
So not the start that the Prowlers want for their power play. As much as we hype up the scorers, not exactly the start that they want as they have 90 more seconds to go on the power play. 9.5 minutes into the first period. 1-1 is your score. The Prowlers looking to break through and get their first lead of the game. Springing out is Jay. Pitch and catch with Graham. Now from one knee, Zulkanich on the sharp side. That's turned out by Nieder. Loose puck still bouncing around in front, getting a stick on it. Turning around, shot, toe saved by Nieder. Chaos in front of the net, and we're not done yet. Graham out into the far side corner, takes a hit from behind on Crystal. One-touch pass, but it's intercepted by the former Prowler Kasich as he comes up the ice solo as he gets some time, as now he gets a shot to the net, and that's turned aside by Paul. And boy, you thought that perhaps he might dump it in, but Kasich is lethal with those hands.
You know, you take a look at the previous play in the Danbury zone. There were 8 or 9 skaters between the hash marks and the front of net. Goaltender Nick Niedert, he can't see anything there, and that's one thing that Danbury needs to get better at. They need to step up the physical play in their own end.
Pfeiffer carried it in, but the Danbury Hat Tricks promptly send it back from whence it came as we have 20 seconds to go in the power play for Port Huron.
You know, that's something that Steve Brown, he's not dressed for tonight's game. He's a big defenseman. He loves taking the body. He'll clear the traffic out in front of the net.
He's an experienced Danbury player as well. He was a part of that Danbury Whalers championship team back in 2013. A major reason for their success is this penalty has officially been killed off as Nick Niedert swallows up the puck into the Buffalo Wild Wings logo right above the hat on his sweater. And we get our first media timeout of the game. And it looks like we've got our first contest here as the Jersey Mike's dance-off is going on. It's one of Herm Sorcher's specialties, these fan activities.
Well, that's one of the things that makes coming here to the Danbury Arena such a fun experience, not only just for hockey fans, but for families as well, because you have the entertainment like this, and at the same time, you get to see a pretty darn good hockey game as well.
It's all about the spectacle, isn't it? And we have a packed house on hand here tonight to witness it. We have the newly renovated suite section up in the second deck.
Look how packed they are as well.
I mean, can you blame them? I would want to take part in those amenities. I kind of want to sit there right now.
Well, listen, we'll pick the gear up. We'll head on over there. They won't mind.
Just relocate everything we've got.
Well, I know what I'm doing between the first.
The faceoff will be back in the Danbury hat trick zone, and I want to go back, Zach, to that goal that was scored by the Port Huron Prowlers and the power play pressure that they were able to provide subsequently. It's Dalton Jay and Matt Robertson. After that, it's not the deepest team in the world for Port Huron. This is a great litmus test for the Danbury hat tricks in that you have guys that can score, you can be with the best of the best, but then also you have the fourth seed in the playoffs Port Huron is not the dominant team like Carolina last year. This is a great opener for them, a chance to really establish themselves.
And it's great, you know, for the fans coming in here, they know the Port Huron Prowlers. They already don't like the Port Huron Prowlers. But going back to the offense, Robertson, as you mentioned, 43 goals last year. Dalton Jay, a 50-goal scorer here with the Danbury Titans. You know, they don't need as much when you're getting so much offense. At the same time, you're getting so much offense from only 2 guys. If you defend them, you kind of shut them down.
Pass from behind the Hat Tricks net goes down the length of the ice, so we'll do it again from the Danbury zone in front of Nick Nieder. 8:36 to go in the first period in the inaugural Danbury Hat Trick game. The first Hat Tricks goal in history, scored by number 19, Johnny Ruiz, the Williamstown, New Jersey native. Always nice to see someone from the tri-state area making their impact, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And you take a look at the Danbury team, a couple others from New Jersey, a couple from New York. We'll highlight them later. But you get, when you have those local guys, when you have that local connection, it makes it all the more special to play doing something that you love.
Levesque spins away with the puck, feeds the high slot. Poor man is bringing up the rear, but he couldn't handle the puck. It was in his skates. And now turning up the ice will be number 17, Jarrett Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer crosses the way to the far side midboards of the Port Huron zone, wrapping around the boards. Platzer giving chase. Kept in by Danbury, and it's a shot from the point that's blocked out in front. And out comes Port Huron as dumping it in deep is Arnott. Niedert out behind his net to play the puck. Niedert is a confident puck handler as out to the far side point. That shot attempt is blocked in front by the skates of Crystal. Behind the Hat Tricks net, Pfeiffer. Harassed from behind by Mealy, and that puck is out onto the blue line. Kept in, they'll say. And it's kept now knocked into the near side corner. Graham goes to work. Circles around to backhander at the far side circle. Turnaround shot off the side of the net. Port Huron buzzing now. They sense something to go with 7.5 to go in the first period. Nifty move now by Arnott. Out to the near side point. That shot attempt diving on the puck is Howie.
Casey, one adjustment that Danbury's going to have to make is as soon as the puck goes down low, all their forwards suck down low as well. They're all below the top of the circles even now.
Right now, yes, that shot attempt, a clear pass out to the blue line, goes wide. A turnaround shot is paddled aside by Nieder. Graham in the far side corner, looking to feed Jay. It's intercepted, and out come the Hat Tricks for a much-needed change. If they can get there, actually. Mealy has to spend a little more time, is now open ice. Graham grabs it, has Jay with him out and Robertson. As the top line comes out for the Hat Tricks to match, Anderson, Kasich, and Bronner holding it behind the net. Port Huron with 6:40 to go in the first period. 1-1 is your score.
And Prowlers currently out shooting Danbury by a 13-9 margin. And you see why, because once they get the puck in the zone, Danbury's defense, they're having trouble adjusting to it.
It's the clearing out of the puck in front of the net for sure, because Niedert is doing his bit to keep it across the goal line as that was deflected, no icing on the play. Anderson looking to connect with Kasich in the near side corner. Kasich takes a hard hit, his head whips back, no call. Anderson has Gonzalez at the near side point, Kasich providing support. Bronner now behind the end line. Bronner with a one-handed pass out in front. Poland can't cover the puck. Where is it? It's underneath his padding. As now we get our first scrum.
Everybody comes together here. Net was knocked off of its moorings by the goaltender, Paulin. But a good job by Bronner sending that up in front of the net. It didn't look that dangerous, but they had guys in Danbury had players in front of the net. You can make something happen with that.
And it looks like we will get offsetting penalties as a pair of 27s goes into the penalty box. It will be Alex Strack for the Prowlers and Corey Anderson for the Hat Tricks going in, and we'll get our stoppage of play as we will get coincidental minors. And joining the booth now up in the Danbury Arena broadcast station. We need a name for it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We have Jack O'Mara joining us on the broadcast. Jack, you were manning the front lines out there on the ticket sales, and it's a packed crowd here tonight for Danbury Arena.
It really is, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's so nice to see that all these people have come together and embrace Danbury hockey, returning to Danbury Arena. It's awesome.
4-on-4 action as Ruiz will be at the center dot. Ruiz wins it. Gets a sharp angle try that goes off the padding of Paulin. Both Hat Tricks forwards are now below the goal line as Gavrik is out there with Ruiz. Robertson with a chip pass that goes up the ice. This one will go down. No icing, they will say.
Waved off at the last moment there.
Yeah, and Niedert had his arm up. He was waiting for it as Ruiz circles around. A lot of open ice out there. This is our first chance at 4-on-4. They will have it for another minute 35. Here's Mealy carrying it up the left wing. Spins around a defender, has Crystal behind him. Opts to instead hit it down low. It goes off a wonky bounce off the divider. Mealy crosses the way to Crystal. Crystal has a man in front of him, gets a shot to the net. That's pad save by Paulin. Turn around, and now up come the Prowlers for their own shift of danger. Here comes Dalton J. Excuse me, that's number 91, Justin Portillo. Turning around, here comes the Danbury hat tricks. Gordy Bonnell dropping it back for Bormanis. Bormanis has a look to the net, shot wide.
Great chance there. Really good chance.
Thought about pressuring, and now here comes Robertson in one-on-one. Backhander that goes off the end boards. 5 minutes to go, 50 seconds to go.
It's a great back check there from Gonzalez, too. He was able to get back in his own defensive zone, make a nice play, and get the puck back to the possession for the hat tricks.
You better have your motor running at 4-on-4, especially with the forwards that Port Huron has. As Bormanis up the left wing, crosses red line, blue line, enters in. Tries to flip it to his backhand with a nifty move, but that's jostled and interrupted by Port Huron. Here's Gordy Bonnell. There's a stick loose. There's a couple of bodies tied up. It's like a game of Twister out in the far side corner. Everyone looking for the puck. It's kicked out to the blue paint and steered aside harmlessly by the Port Huron defense, and it looks like Velcro. Everyone's stuck together. 10 seconds to go on the 4-on-4. Robertson picks up the puck for the Prowlers, and he'll opt to chip it in after an extended shift.
That's tiring work down behind the net. When you have to battle like that, you get sapped of your energy, especially Port Huron, about a 15-hour bus ride to get here. They didn't arrive until about 9 o'clock or so this morning.
It is a long way from Michigan to Danbury, and there are a lot of long bus trips in store for the Hat Tricks this season, as their closest opponents come from Elmira and Delaware, as we will get a delayed call a trip coming against the Danbury Hat Tricks. So with 3:41 to go in the first period, we will get Levesque sent to the box.
Yeah, there was a kind of a lazy play there for Levesque. He got beat. He was trying to turn around real quick, and that's what happens when you're lazy. You're not able to move your feet too well. He just kind of sticks his stick out there and draws the penalty.
Levesque has seen a lot of ice time so far in the first period, so he's one of those guys that they rely on heavily at all three strengths. The second power play unit is out there for the Port Huron Prowlers, so no Jay and Robertson yet. We'll keep an eye on that, as that one, it looked like it went off of Krapinski on the bench.
It almost did look like that.
It certainly took a bounce like that, as the assistant coach for the Danbury Hat Tricks, John Krapinski, had to duck out of the way.
I was expecting the whistle there and a face-all back in the Danbury end, but I'm sure the Hat Tricks won't complain.
I suppose they'll say that it went off of the padding in the stanchion between the benches, the honorary Patrick Waugh stanchion, for him to knock it down.
The Patrick Waugh Memorial stanchion.
There you go. As Stoya spins away from a good forecheck by Newberg, as Port Huron is forced to retreat into their own end. 3 minutes to go in the first period, 1:15 to go in the Port Huron power play. Carrying it up is Vertianen. Dumps it in, Niedert out aggressively behind the net to play the puck. No trapezoid, so Niedert is free to play as he sees fit. Retreating is Arnott. He waits for a change, and now out comes the first forward unit for the Port Huron Prowlers. Up the left wing, entering in is Jay. He's got Robertson cutting to the net. Jay has Listmayer in front of him. Good back check by Gavrick to try and get a stick on the puck. Turning around and looking towards the net is Robertson. His shot is stymied by Listmayer's stick. Behind the end line, Listmayer coming together with Robertson. 2:20 to go in the period, 40 seconds to go in the power play. Danbury doing a good job of clogging those passing lanes so far. Crossing the way, here's a look for Jay. That shot stopped by Niedert and punched into the Hat Tricks net by Listmayer. Niedert made the initial stop. Listmayer tried to turn around and swipe it out of the blue paint. Instead, he punches it into his own net.
That's a tough break for the Hat Tricks there. They played that power play so well, keeping it out of the zone. Not a lot of zone time for the Prowlers. They just get a lucky bounce there. The rebound bouncing up in the air, and you look at Listmayer and you say, that's a tough one. He'd like to have that one back.
It's going to be Dalton Jay who gets credit for the goal. And while everybody else was battling for the puck on the far side, while Dalton Jay was on the near side, he's at the top of the circles. It's a prime shooting position. They finally get it over to him. Niedert makes the initial save. The puck goes up in the middle, in the air, and Listmayer, unfortunately, you don't want to cover your puck on that in the crease. That leads to an automatic penalty shot. It's also a penalty in its own right these days. Instead, he just tries to swipe at it. It went the wrong way.
And that's a rough break for Listmayer, especially because of how well he's played this period. He's been one of the most physical presences out there for the Hat Tricks. So it's a 2-1 lead for the Port Huron Prowlers. They grabbed their first lead of the season against the Danbury Hat-Tricks, and now they go to work trying to equalize things in the 2-minute drill. Into the near side corner it goes. Pinching in is Owed. Crystal throws a hard check on Owed to try to win the puck away, and here comes Levesque, the penalized man who resulted in a goal. Levesque carrying out the left wing, powering his way to the net, stopped by Paulin, and Paulin takes a little bit of a collision from Josh Newberg, who was aggressively after it, and now we get a little exchange of pleasantries in front of the netminder. Paulin knows enough to skate away from all of the extracurriculars.
Well, Port Huron has certainly had their fair share of goaltenders who can throw them in the past. Paulin doesn't exactly fit into that mold as usual, but a good play by Levesque there. He's able to dip the shoulder, and he really starts motoring ahead. You saw him going through the neutral zone. He almost looked labored in his skating. Then suddenly he hits another gear. He's able to get around the defenseman. He uses his big 6'2" frame to power towards the front of the net. Good job by Paulin, however, getting low to the ice, making sure nothing sneaks by him.
Levesque is one of the more seasoned scorers on the Danbury Hat-Tricks, a career point-per-game player at the FPHL level. Had himself 14 points in 10 regular season games in his last FPHL season. Last played with Watertown with the Wolves, and that season resulted in a championship. As now a turnover shot by Bronner, he scores! Phil Bronner brings it back to even.
Well, that's not the way they drew it up, but it works out well. The puck comes from behind the net. It goes off the side of the net, and luckily for the Hat-Tricks, pulling a rabbit out of their hat, if they will, it ends up right on the stick of Bronner, and he roofs one far side over the blocker of Paulin to tie this up at 2.
And it's Phil Bronner, the man that we knew we would have to rely on all season long for Danbury.
Danbury Hat-Tricks goals, scored by number 8, Phil
Bronner spent last season in the SPHL with the Quad City Storm as he stays out there for another shift. So that's a huge equalizing goal, Zach, as now they have to kill off these final 60 seconds. If they can enter in with either a lead or just keeping it tied, that's a great momentum shift for the Hat-Tricks to make sure they're not entering that first intermission trailing.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Giving up the 2 goals, especially putting one in your own net, for lack of a better term, it's killing you. And if you go back to the locker room, you stew on that for the next 15, 17 minutes. Great job by Bronner to put the team on his back and get him back to even.
So Port Huron charging up the ice, crossing the red line and blue line and entering into the zone as that shot attempt goes off of a sick rebound try, goes off the post, and Mealy is there to clean up the trash in front. Oh boy, and Port Huron almost stole one in the final minute.
Yeah, talking about momentum, Port Huron nearly grabbed it right back.
Here's Jay out there with Robertson and Graham. Back to retrieve is Mealy. Back to Crystal with 15 seconds to go in the period. Crystal will simply send it over to his defensive partner, Mealy. Long pass up the gut of the ice, but it will go for an easy icing, and we will get one more face-off in the Danbury Hat-Tricks zone. With 8.5 seconds to go in the frame, your score is tied at 2.
It's important for the Hat-Tricks here to win this face-off. Only 8.5 seconds remaining. You win the face-off, put it in the corner, kill the timeout. At this point, you've been able to sort of blunt what Port Huron's been able to do.
So the final faceoff will be Graham going up against Gavrik. To the right of Nieder. Nieder dressed in his all black and orange pads, won by the Hat-Tricks. Mealy spins away, keeps it along the boards. 2 seconds and 1, that will do it for the first period. How about that, Danbury? You've got hockey back, and it's a back-and-forth game here at the Danbury Arena. What a period as we leave here in the first 20 minutes, 2-2.
Well, certainly interesting enough for this 2-2 your score after one. You see the shots on goal on your screens at home. 17 in favor of Port Huron, 15 in favor of Danbury. When it comes to Port Huron, they did a real good job, especially in that middle portion of the period. They were able to withstand the initial attack from Danbury. They did surrender a goal during that time, but then they picked things up. They get the power play goal. Granted, not in the most normal of ways, but it still counts. Hat tricks, however, last couple minutes, they're able to respond. They're able to get back into it. Sure, they're trailing Port Huron by 2 shots, but you know what? The most important thing is that they're tied at 2 on the scoreboard.
And we're fairly even in the shot battle as well. Shots on goal on the scoreboard right now, 17 shots for the Port Huron Prowlers, 15 for the Danbury Hat Tricks. It is a true back-and-forth north-south hockey game that fans have been dying to see. We'll be right back for coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks against the Port Huron Prowlers. You're watching FPHL action here on YouTube for the Danbury Hat Tricks channel. Be sure to like the Danbury Hat Tricks YouTube channel, subscribe, and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all important updates. I'm Casey Bryant here with Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Danbury Hat Tricks against the Port Huron Prowlers. 2-2 is your score heading into the second period. Time now for an Around the League report. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Well, we talked about the Danbury Hat Tricks and how they're an expansion team. There are 4 expansion teams in the Federal Hockey League this season, and you know what? All of them are in action tonight out in Elmira. No expansion team there. A rematch of the championship series. Elmira and Carolina are tied at 0 in the first period. 2 expansion teams, the Columbus River Dragons and the Delaware Thunder. They're both at 0-0 as well. The Watertown Wolves have a 1-0 lead over the Mentor Icebreakers, and the Danville Dashers have a 1-0 lead out in the Cereal City as the Battle Creek Rumblebees trail 1-0.
And there you go. The Rumblebees have one of the most interesting jerseys in the league. Have you seen these?
I have.
Bright yellow with honeycomb designs along the side and 2 racing stripes down the middle. I mean, I'm no fashion expert, but is that a do or a don't?
I think it's a don't, although Casey, now folks, for those of you listening at home, Casey Bryant, before coming up here to Danbury, he was the voice of the Jersey Hitmen. And Casey, the Hitmen have their own special twist on their jerseys.
Oh, they do. They have the pinstripe suit look on the shoulders. Like their logo is a mobster in a pinstripe suit holding a hockey stick like it's a Tommy gun.
And what sort of message does that send?
That Jersey is a fun place to visit on weekends.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm there during the week, so I'll be sure to be the welcoming crew. But, you know, about to get underway here. Jack, you're in the broadcast booth with us as well. You saw things from a different perspective. You saw it really down from ice level in the first period. What did you take away from that?
Well, it's a lot faster than you really think it is from up at this level. Guys are fast. Guys are hitting very quickly. And the active sticks, I had the opportunity to talk to Billy McCreary before he headed to the locker room. He said, you know, we just got to clean up some things. I think our focus is there. We just need to turn it up a notch, and we'll be a little bit more disciplined in this second period.
Hat tricks going from right to left on your YouTube screen. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara for coverage of the second period. 2-2 is your score as the puck gets sent into the Port Huron zone over by Chris Paul in the netminder. In the near side corner it goes. Bronner, the second goal scorer for the Hat Tricks, gets tied up behind the net. Robertson wins the puck away and stick handles away from the aggressive Anderson. Pinching in is Listmayer. Listmayer gets probably the primary assist on the second Port Huron goal, as crossing the way is Robertson, as it was Listmayer's glove that inadvertently batted the puck into the back of the net. Here's Graham, backhand pass out to the high slot. Fanning on the shot is Jay as he gets a second try at it and gets it off the padding of Nieder. Bronner pitchforks it up into the air, and Anderson is able to pick it up at the red line. He'll dump it in, and the Hat Tricks will go off for a change.
I'll tell you what, guys, I haven't seen as much gameplay as you have, but every time Jay is on the ice, he's a force to be reckoned with. He's in great position, just missed a one-timer in the slot area. That could have been dangerous.
Vartiainen carries it into the offensive zone. They'll whistle him down for an offsides after Vartiainen had a nasty move that brought a hat trick down to the ice in his own zone. So we get our first stoppage of the period, minute 17 into play. And the Danbury Hat Tricks, you talk about the adjustments that Billy McCreary said that he wanted to see out of his team. One of the ones that we wanted to see certainly up here was tightening up the defense below the end line.
Now, that's something that they needed to do. You saw how they were getting it almost looked like it was a T-ball game. Everybody following the puck. They have to spread out. You're starting to see that adjustment here.
Well, you see the over-aggressiveness for sure because it is the first game. Everyone wants to be the guy to dive on the puck. It's your first game as an organization. Perhaps the energy is just a bit too high for your own good. It's the old adage, gripping the stick too tight. As a centering pass out in front goes off the stick of Bormanis. Keeping it in the zone is Levesque, a great play. Nikola Levesque spins away from a defender. Gets it to the net, feeds out in front. They score! Johnny Ruiz gives the Hat Tricks a 3-2 lead.
Oh, this whole play starts with Ruiz's great effort. He has a great back pass into the slot area that Levesque ended up whiffing on. It gets passed back around, and he finds himself back in the slot. This time takes the shot, a little hesitation, finds the back of the net. Great puck movement for the Hat Tricks in their attacking zone.
Casey, you mentioned everybody wants to be the guy. Johnny Ruiz is the guy. That's his second goal of the game. He assisted on Bronner's goal as well. 3 points in just over a minute, or just over a period's worth of play.
Ruiz had 12 goals and 13 assists, 25 points in 26 collegiate games last year. So he is a talented scorer, but it's certainly translating out to the pro level in a way that I'm sure that even Billy McCreary is pleasantly surprised by, as he's been a spark plug of offense. Now keeping it going is Port Huron. Over at the far side midboards, taken away by number 9, Gordy Bonnell. Bonnell drops it back looking for a man in Newberg. No one was there. Bonnell tied up with 2 defenders. Bonnell with a great single-handed effort to try to get the puck away from 2 different Port Huron Prowlers. Pinching in at the far side is Brennan. As he keeps it in, we get a whistle 2.5 minutes into the second period as the Hat Tricks now lead it 3-2. Faceoff will be in the Port Huron zone.
Well, that's a tough break for Danbury because they had the press on very, very well in that own zone there.
Great play by Bunnell.
Yeah, Bunnell was the man who started it all, kept it in the zone. He was doing a great job there on the forecheck, and the Hat Tricks, again, they catch a lucky break. The net comes off its moorings. I didn't see much contact around the net as to why it came off.
It was that near side post that came off its mooring.
But importantly for Danbury here, Port Huron can't change. Let's see if they can take advantage with some tired legs on the ice.
High slot shot by Gonzalez goes wide. Bronner picks up the rebound. Pass goes off the stick of Kasich and now out to Brennan at the near side point. Loops around to Kasich at the far side corner. The former Prowler gets it over to his new teammate, Bronner. Bronner stick handles away from a defender. Kasich in Gretzky's office, escapes at the far side. Now leaves it for Gonzalez motoring in. The net is definitely off its mooring now as the water bottle is on the ice. And it was the Port Huron Prowler, Austin Federley, who went barreling into the near side post. And once more, we'll get a stop because the net needs to be put back in its peg.
Well, I tell you what, get some cement out there. Come on, that's a couple times already that thing's popped off. Come on.
Well, you know, as someone who's worked this Danbury arena before, that net does seemingly have a propensity to get moving. Steve Brown, a goaltender for the Danbury Whalers, he was the best at it. The net always just happened to seem to come off when things were getting a little too dicey in the defensive zone. But again, Port Huron is not allowed to change. Now they're taking the faceoff outside of the zone. I'm not quite sure why, because if the faceoff's
I guess
outside,
they're saying that the Danbury Hat Tricks were the ones that knocked it off the netting.
but if that's true, then Port Huron would be allowed to change. So not sure where the miscommunication is. Either way, Danbury still has an opportunity. I want to see Port Huron try and get this down the ice quickly.
Crossing the way and up the gut of the ice off the stick of Grant. Leaving it back for a Danbury defender in Freeman. Up the center of the ice into the neutral zone. Playing it down to his own stick is Matt Stoya. One touch pass and in comes Dalton Jay. Jay for a shot attempt that goes off the padding of Nieder.
Great save there by Nick. He closed that 5-hole really, really quickly on the quick release there from Jay. Once again, he's in the midst of it.
He's been active on those leg pads, and you see just how good the reflexes are of Nick Nieder as that one trickles over the blue line, and it will be called for an offsides at that far side point. So we'll do it again from outside of the Hat Trick zone. 3.5 minutes gone by into the second period. 3-2 your score in favor of Danbury.
Jack, you make a great point about Nick Niedert having to close that 5-hole quickly. Dalton Jay has one of the best releases in this league. He's a 50-goal scorer for a reason, and that one didn't miss by much. But Niedert, the veteran, the 37-year-old, by my count, the oldest player in the league, well, he still looks pretty darn spry out there.
And he's probably the best-dressed goalie in the league, too.
He is a good, this is someone as a goalie, he has style. No offense to Chris Paulin, the all-white look, it's fine. Nick Niedert, on the other hand, it's a sharp look. It's a nice look. You saw Niedert do this when he debuted with the Danbury Titans as well. Imagine the same style of pads, but in the colors of gray, navy, and electric green.
It's the Ray Emery setup where he's got the all-black with orange and white trim as the puck goes into the Port Huron bench alongside the near side wall. It gets played into Danbury's end. Niedert aggressively out of his own net to play the puck. Leaves it now for Mealy, who goes charging up the ice. Mealy motoring ahead with Gavrik to his right. Mealy with a shot attempt that's blocked by the Port Huron defender, and now Howie feeds a man at the near side point. Gets it back to Howie, crossing the way, off the stick, but perfect pass to Mealy. Open net robbery by Paulin. Broken play turns into a prime scoring chance for Danbury.
I'll tell you what, Casey, that was kind of an incidental great passing. Through the legs above a player and somehow stayed in the zone. Oh my goodness, but how about the back-end play by the netminder, slamming the door shut.
Like a game of mousetrap, it goes across the bridge and down the rabbit hole, and pinball action. 4 minutes and 10 seconds gone by. 3-on-1 developing now. Bronner crossing the way for the one-time pass. It's broken up by the back-checking Strack.
Just not enough on that pass from Bronner. A little more juice on that, and you've got yourself a great one-time opportunity for Corey Anderson.
Anderson was winding up. You feel like if he got a stick on that, that's 150 miles an hour to the back of the net. You feel he was ready as Kasich up the center of the ice, across the blue line, looking to the net himself. Toe saved by Paulin. Kasich chases after his own shot attempt. He's battling in the near side wall with Portillo. Winning it away is Port Huron, but Danbury doing a good job of clogging the neutral zone. Now that shot attempt goes wide of the net, and with speed, out comes Bronner. As we get a stoppage of play, though, as Paulin was heading to the bench, we get an interference call going against the Hat Tricks.
Another penalty here, guys, that might cost Danbury. You saw a couple times they looked vulnerable in the first period. When they're down by a man, it's going to be Anderson who's going to the box for the black and orange, but you got to hold it down. You got a 1-goal lead right here. Another vulnerable time with this power penalty kill unit out there. Let's see if Port Huron can cash in.
Well, their special teams, they're 1 for 1 already so far today. And again, the shooters that they have, we saw how Danbury's defense broke down last time. Let's see what sort of adjustments they've made over the intermission.
Graham taking the faceoff to the left of Nieder for Port Huron. He goes up against Josh Newberg, who has been solid on the faceoff dot, but he loses this one. It's won by Port Huron. Crossing the way. Here's Arnott with a play out in front, bouncing around in the blue paint, and it's steered aside. Robin Yu in the near side corner gets it out to Dalton J. That shot gets hit off of Listmayer's shoulder, I believe, who was tied up with a man in front. That's Sulkanich. Near side wall. Here's Graham looking across the way, goes off of the legs of the defender Brennan and down the length of the ice. A good play by Brennan to get in the way of that shot.
Jack, you mentioned Dalton J. 2 good shots there. He's the designated shooter on this power play.
You like that guy who can spot up a right-handed shot, the kind of Alexander Ovechkin, as that pass attempt is blocked out in front by Crystal. Oh, Nieder was down. Crystal with a good job to recuperate. As Crystal gets a stick on the puck and sends it down, and Port Huron will have to go the full 200. Minute 10 to go in the power play for Port Huron. We're 6.5 minutes through the second period. Danbury defending a 3-2 lead. Behind his own net is Arnott. Looking up the ice, has a man to his left and a man cherry-picking in Dalton J all the way along the far side blue line. As playing it in deep is Vertianen. Setting up shop at the far side circle, looking to the net that goes off of the end boards. Crystal is the first man there in the black and orange sweater. Racing over to keep it in, but cannot is Vertianen as he has to re-rack.
I'll tell you what, 2 very, very good plays from Crystal. First, a block shot of the last sequence, and then he gets the good clear there, but knocking on the door come the Prowlers.
Federley leaves it behind for Portillo. In the far side corner, calling for it in the high slot is Stoya, trying to get it to him, but there's too many bodies in the way, and an errant pass goes out into the neutral zone with 20 seconds to go in the power play. Federley crosses the way now for Vertianen, who plays it in. Long shift for Vertianen on this power play with 10 seconds to go in the man advantage for Port Huron. Set up in front, backhander goes wide of the net. 5 seconds to go on the power play. 7.5 gone by in the second period, and the Hat Tricks have successfully survived being down a man. And out of the box is Anderson at the blue line. He was calling for it, but they were unable to hook up with him as Gavrik enters the zone. Long shot gets easily seen and turned aside by Paulin.
You know, that was a long shift on the penalty kill for Sebastian Crystal, the defenseman. Jack, as you mentioned, he had the block shot. He broke things up as well. He looked a little shaken up off that block shot. We'll see how he does.
Gavrik with an attempted setup in front that goes off of a stick. Ruiz was hunting for that hat trick. How fitting would it be, a hat trick on the Hat Tricks opening night? Taking it in now as Graham gets a stick on it, and it's covered by Nieder. A beauty of a save from the veteran netminder.
Well, he does it again. When his name is called, he's answered it every single time, and that's a great play there. Kind of a funky bounce off the stick, and he just slides right across, able to swallow it up before it skirts by him.
And that was a good shot by Matt Graham because the initial pass deflected off the skate of Johnny Ruiz, who is covering Graham. Graham with his stick on the ice suddenly finds it and puts one on goal, forcing Nieder to make the save.
Back is Gonzalez in the near side corner of his own end for the Danbury Hat Tricks. Dalton J playing it off of a defender's legs, and it will be Levesque picking it up and heading up the ice with a head of steam. He has 2 men on with him. It's a 3-on-2. Centering pass now for Levesque, crossing the way just out of reach of Bormanis. And now here come the Prowlers in transition with their own 3-on-2. It's J feeding Graham, trying to wire it back to Robertson. He's now behind the end line. Couldn't get a shot on net, but now the Prowlers are threatening with a little bit of space. He's taking a step in at the far side circle, gloved and held by Niedert, seen all the way.
Well, I'll tell you what right there, Bormanis, he took a chance. He was trying to intercept that little saucer pass, missed it, and that's why all that space was opened up for the clean lane shot. Again, Niedert makes another chest save and is able to swallow the rebound this time, forcing the face-off.
And good job by Niedert to come out and be aggressive as well. When you're aggressive like that as a butterfly goalie, you cut down on the angles. When you don't have to worry about a pass, makes it very difficult for the shooter to find the back of the net.
Anderson wins the draw for the Hat Tricks. They lively bank it off the boards, trying to get it out of the zone, but it will be once more flipped towards Niedert. It's kept alive by the defender Freeman. Out into the neutral zone it goes. Bronner tied up with a stick. Bringing up the rear is Listmayer. Gets it up to Bronner at the blue line, but it's immediately whacked back out. And up come the Prowlers. Here's Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer to the backhand shot, saved by Niedert, and he holds onto it with a body collapsing on top of him.
Yeah, everybody dogpile on the goalie there.
Dogpile on the rabbit, dare you say?
Perhaps.
Like a Looney Tunes reference?
No, but again, good defense. It's a good response for Danbury as they see the forecheckers coming in on their goaltender. You know what? Get physical. You want this to be a hard place to play. You look around the rink, you see it on your screens at home. Fans are lining the entire glass, along with over 1,000 in the stands as well. If you want to make this a hard place to play, it makes them rethink perhaps driving to the net just as hard.
Faceoff will be to Niedert's right. It will be Zulkanich taking the draw. The Kenai, Alaska native. Bronner at the far side wall. Skies it up into the air. It will be gloved down easily by Stoya. Stoya up the right wing. Here's Zulkanich getting around Crystal. Crystal on the back check, able to interrupt the play as now a scramble out in front. Niedert takes a swipe at it and is able to keep the puck from crossing the goal line. And a helter-skelter play as Niedert had another guy collapsing in on him.
And guys, we talked a lot about, trying to stay in your lane, stay in your responsibility defensively. Another poor example of that right there. 3 guys in the defensive zone versus 2 Port Huron Prowlers, and all 3 defensemen are looking at the puck. And that's why there was an empty lane there. Another great chance, but Niedert shuts the door again.
And I'm sure that something that Danbury is taking exception to is the excessive amount of pressure that Niedert is facing now physically. It's one thing to face a glut of shots, but Niedert has bodies constantly going after him right now. That's something that normally a hockey team, especially one that wants to establish a physical presence, they take exception to that.
Well, it is the Federal Prospects Hockey League. Let's see how long it takes until somebody really makes someone answer the bell.
Puck is redirected into the Hat Tricks end. Behind the net is Portillo. Looking for the setup in front. It's out of reach of Grigorich. Now entering in at the far side corner. Behind the net, intended for Portillo. He's able to settle the puck down. He's got Crystal on him from behind. Taking it away is Freeman. That's Newberg. Newberg picks up the puck. Looking across the way, gets his defensive partner Mealy. Interrupted and now up with speed is Robertson. Has a man to beat back there. Gonzalez settles it down and plays it out into safety. That's number 16, Josh Newberg. Newberg comes from Watertown in the FPHL last season as that shot gets turned aside by the elbow of Paulin.
Sharp angle, but it's still a good shot.
And any shot is a good shot at this level. You got to make the goalie make a mistake. As a drop pass now, a tic-tac-toe attempt, and it couldn't find the stick of Graham to cap off the play. And now here's Levesque seeing a little bit of space. As a man and Bormanis behind him, can't connect, and Levesque will chase after the puck in the near side corner with 9:05 to go in the second period. 3-2 is your score in favor of the Danbury Hat Tricks. The goal scored by Ruiz in this period as that shot goes off the side of the net.
It actually hit a man up in front. It was Matt Graham, and that one redirected almost into the net. It just went wide.
Well, at this point, after Listmeyer put it into the Danbury net, perhaps Port Huron, in a sense of gamemanship and showmanship, will do one just the same.
Well, the puck has certainly been bouncing lively from man to man as Bormanis cuts across the slot, drops it back for Kasich, and he couldn't connect. And now we have a man streaking up the left wing. Here comes Stoya, dragging the toe, and it's interrupted. A great play on the back check by Freeman. Now carrying it the other way is Kasich. Helter-skelter hockey is turning around, trying to get it to himself is Ruiz. And settling it down behind the net, trying to catch his breath, but Kasich gets a stick on the exit pass. 8:10 to go in the period. Up the left wing, here's Vertienen. Intercepted by Bronner, turns around and whistles it over towards Paulin. And the Hat-Tricks now sensing a little bit of blood in the water. They're pressuring the puck carrier behind that end line.
Well, they've had really good press, I think, offensively. They continue to dominate the neutral zone.
Here's Bronner coming in on the left side. Bronner drops it back to Kasich, centering pass intended for Anderson. It goes off of the paddle of the stick of Paulin. Kasich has been around the play. He just hasn't been able to get the puck settled on his stick. Dropping it back now for Bronner. Delayed penalty going against Port Huron as another man is brought down, and touching it up is Pfeiffer, and we will get a power play for the Danbury Hat-Tricks as Kasich and Bronner both had sticks going into their midsection.
Yeah, there will be at least one power play for Danbury. I'm wondering if they get two here.
And you look, that Kasich had that puck in the attacking zone a couple of times. I think he made poor decisions with them, but he bounced right back with a couple of really good passes on that one. Ends up drawing the penalty. Hat-Tricks go to the power play.
It's going to be Zach Zolkanich who goes to the box. He'll sit 2 minutes for hooking. That's Zolkanich's second trip to the box, and it gives Danbury their third power play here. They haven't been able to convert with the man advantage, but with a 1-goal lead and 7:33 remaining here in the second period, they can double up the lead and really put the Port Huron Prowlers on their heels.
Breathing room is the name of the game here for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. They'll certainly want to provide themselves a cushion, especially with a team that can score at any moment like Port Huron. Up the gut of the ice. And Newberg covers it as we get the light 'em up playing over the speakers during play.
Little bit of a different look.
It's like the NBA. We play music during the action. It's okay. As Kasich loops around behind the net. It is a Ferroelectric power play. Light 'em up with Ferroelectric. Here's Graham carrying it up the ice. Ruiz on the back check. Graham on the one-hand shot goes through the blue paint. And there's a shorthanded try for the team that scored 14 shorties last year.
You know, I'm surprised Graham didn't recognize that he was up against a forward playing defense there on the power play. Danbury rolling with 4 forwards here. It can lead to turnovers like that.
Carrying it in at the far side. Out into the neutral zone it goes. Here's Mealy. Mealy is out there with Ruiz, who fields the puck. Kasich goes off for a change. Bronner comes on for him. As Port Huron spins around and tries to hit it off the wall. As a Let's Go Hat-Tricks chant goes up from the crowd. Here's Levesque at the far side hash marks. Looping it around for Bronner at the near side corner as Gonzalez at the point. Behind the net, Newberg. Newberg behind the end line. Newberg trying to stuff in at the near side point, and he gets pushed into the post by Stoya, and we'll get a whistle for the net, almost collapsing on top of Paulin.
You know, you don't see a lot of puck movement there from the Hat-Tricks. First, they have trouble getting into the zone, and I give a lot of credit to the Port Huron penalty kill for that. Then it's not a lot of puck movement. They're keeping it here in the near side corner. I want to see a lot more up to the point. Try to move it around in the umbrella. Try to get something going here.
And that's the problem that they had on their first power play, where they're playing the overload. This time they're setting up on the near side wall, but there's no real movement. And because of that, it's easy for Port Huron to defend.
Bormanis keeps it in at the near side point. Bronner has Gavrik and Anderson out there on the forward lines. Gonzalez crossing the way with Bormanis. Gonzalez thinks about a shot, instead gets it to Gavrik at the far side circle. Under 6 minutes to go in the period, 20 seconds to go in the man advantage. Gavrik settles it down, looking for Anderson, fanned on the shot attempt, and it's cleared down the length of the ice. It would have been a tough shot regardless, as Paulin was in the right position at that far side post.
Yeah, not sure what Anderson was looking at there. He had Phil Bronner open at the top of the circle.
Here's Gonzalez carrying it in with 2 seconds to go in the power play. Here's a redirection out in front, and Paulin lost sight of it. It was underneath his pad. He reached behind him as if he didn't know whether it had crossed the goal line, as now we get a little bit of a how do you do from Anderson, as he has to be pulled off of Paulin.
Well, Kyle Gonzalez was the one who got his stick on the puck, and you're absolutely right. Paulin didn't know where it was, and I think what Anderson was trying to do there was essentially, well, if you notice, Paulin, when he was getting himself up, Braden Holtby of the Washington Capitals is great at this. They rotate around. They make sure that when they get up, that puck has not crossed the goal line. Well, you know, same thing goes along here, and Anderson sniffing around, just wanting to check to see exactly where that puck was.
So we get a stoppage of play, immediate timeout with 5:33 to go in the second period. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. You can catch our coverage of the Hat-Tricks all season long on the Danbury Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. And be sure to like the Danbury Hat Tricks at Danbury Hat Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all essential updates on the team going forward.
And you know, Casey, that's something that's different about this Danbury Hat Trick squad. In the past, with the Danbury Titans, the Danbury Whalers, and the teams beforehand, you didn't have that social media aspect. You didn't have that community engagement. You know, I know you guys have certainly taken a look at everything when it comes to Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. Me, I'm a bit older. It's a little bit more difficult for me, although I'm happy to say I do not have an AOL email address. But
Zach, I didn't have you for a day over 21.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. But really, it's the community engagement that the fans, they can talk to the team, they can talk to the fans. It's really special. It's one of the things that makes hockey so good here in Danbury.
5:20 to go in the second period as the puck is bouncing around in the slot as Listmayer pinches in, keeps it in the zone. Shot attempt goes wide of the net. Picking it up is Vertianen as he gets it up the left wing. Hat Tricks protecting a 3-2 lead. It is the second time in the game that they have led, and it's thanks to Ruiz. Johnny Ruiz has netted the first and third goals for the Danbury Hat Tricks as Gonzalez picks it up and skates on the left wing as Gavrik in front of him, skates by him and dumps it in, goes off for a change as the Hat Tricks will get a full 5-man unit shift.
You can tell Gonzalez is going to be one of those players where he can play from blue line to blue line. He's got an active stick. He's got great passing, great vision.
And you know what is that we were filming a promotional shoot with him the other day where we had him posing for different pictures to use in advertisements and videos going forward. And he was asking, all right, look like you're celebrating like you just scored a goal. And he goes, all right, I'll get used to it now because I won't have many during the season. He jokes that he doesn't score as much, but he has the mitts for it. He is a good skater. He's got good stick handling ability. I wouldn't be surprised if he potted a few this year for the Hat Tricks. Puck goes into the near side midboards for the Danbury Hat Tricks end. It gets sent out into the neutral zone. Corralling it is Strack as he gets hit hard from behind by Howie. Has to retreat now as the aggressive forechecker Gordy Bunnell out there for the Hat Tricks. Always good to see a hockey player named Gordy, keeping that old-fashioned tradition alive of Mr. Hockey. As that goes down for an icing as it was Gordy Bunnell chasing down the ice. Thought he might have beat the Prowlers between the hash marks, but nothing doing. We'll get a face-off now from the Danbury end.
Well, off the icing, Danbury not able to change here. They've got their grind line out there. Newberg, along with others, they need to get the puck out quickly, though. They're getting out past right now. The Prowlers are doing a good job of finding the open ice and giving themselves opportunities. They're getting close to doubling up in the shots, 25-16 right now in favor of Port Huron.
It is true, not too many shots. There have certainly been a lot of attempts for the Hat Tricks, but attempts are one thing and shots on net are another. And right now they have been lacking in shots on net in this period after looking like they were pulling the trigger from so many different angles in the first period. Perhaps it's their first time with the long change that is hindering their ability to kind of get in the right rhythm. As we have 3:35 to go in the second period, the Hat Tricks are protecting a 1-goal lead. Taking a step to his left is Arnott. Playing it now behind the net to Robertson. Trying to feed out now to the high slot, Stoya. Crosses the way. Arnott to the far side corner, Graham out to Dalton Jay, fanned on the shot. Back over to Stoya. Now to Jay again, that shot is blocked in front. Good job by Newberg to get his body in front of the shot. Looking for the pass out in front, redirected by a man in front of the net, but couldn't get it past Nieder.
Long shift here for the Hat Tricks in their own zone.
Getting pinned, but still fighting along the boards as an open ice pass is settled down by Arnott. Looking for that bumper position, Jay, but he's unable to find a teammate as it's finally picked up and settled down by Danbury. They need a change. They do have a little bit of time being killed off right now for their forwards. They'll dump it in from behind the red line on goal, and what a great play there by Sebastian Crystal. From behind the red line, you negate the icing by getting it on net. Great play.
It's a chance that you're taking, but Jack, as you mentioned, a very long shift. They had already dealt with one icing faceoff, and quite frankly, they were running around in their own zone. They did not look good. They finally get possession of the puck. Crystal, again, the skill that he shows there, putting it on goal, helps his team out.
And for as much time as the Hat Tricks have spent in their own zone, they're doing a good job of making sure the open lanes are not so much there. The Prowlers have really been limited to the perimeter so far. They haven't been able to get that open position in the slot. It's been a better job this period of tightening up defensively as Gonzalez switches places with Bormanis. Back to Listmayer. Listmayer with a long stretch pass right on the tape of Ruiz. Tries to stick handle his way in, but he's met by a defender. Now up the gut of the ice is Zulkanich. Crossing, trying to split the defenders, but has the puck knocked off his stick by Listmayer. A redirection pass is sent wide of the net. Bronner with a blind pass out into the neutral zone. Had a man at the far side wing, but a good defensive awareness play by Port Huron.
And Zach, we could see the frustration in your body language there. Just a careless pass from Bronner.
It really is. If he picks his head up, he realizes he essentially has a 4-on-2 developing. He's at the end of his shift. You go far side. Now it's a 3-on-2, perhaps a 3-on-1.
But now here comes Kasich breaking in. Kasich on the backhand, looking to the net. Stopped by Paulin. And we get a whistle as Kasich headlong into the netminder. And we get a whistle with 1:41 to go in the period. And that's how dangerous Kasich can be. Little bit of that first step, and he's gone.
And a good job by Kasich there, receiving the puck at the blue line, and then he's able to turn on the Jets. I didn't like the way he went down into the net. It looked like he hit his shoulder on the post. Luckily, as we've already established, that net loves to move.
And Kasich is a tough son of a gun, too. He is built like a wall, and he's certainly one of those guys that if he gets black and blue, he's going to shrug it off. He's one of those guys that's one of the tough guys up front. He's skilled and he's strong, which is a valuable asset at this level, as you know.
Well, at 6'3", he certainly puts an imposing presence out there.
Immediately sent into the Prowlers zone, and Paulin covers it up and faces a little bit of pressure from Anderson after the whistle.
Well, during the first period, you had talked about the physical toll that the Prowlers were starting to take out on Nick Nieder. It's about time that Danbury started giving some of that back. It does two things. One, it forces the other team to pull off of your goalie, or it puts the same amount of pressure on the opposing keeper.
Kasich on the back check, trying to prevent a Prowlers exit. They have no choice but to spin around by the Hat Tricks bench. No icing. I believe they're going to say that it went off of a stick in the far side neutral zone. So 1:15 to go in the second period. Hat Tricks protecting a 3-2 lead. They were able to get a goal in the final minute of the last period. They would certainly love a repeat performance as the puck makes its way towards Nieder, keeps it alive. No one was around him in a white sweater.
1 minute remaining.
As we approach the final minute, here's Joe Brennan, escaping from behind his net, feeds his defensive partner, Crystal. Takes a whack at it. Anderson up the ice with Gavrik and Bonnell. Bonnell picks up the puck, has to wait for a second because Anderson had a devil of a time getting out of the offensive zone, and it will be whistled down for an offsides. 43 seconds to go in the frame.
Yeah, Anderson ready to take a seat on the bench there, as just a stride or two away from getting back onside. Good job by Bonnell at the blue line to knock that puck down, nearly resulting in an offensive opportunity.
Face off right in front of the Hat Tricks bench with 40 seconds to go. As it trickles across the scorer's box over on the far side, Listmayer up the left wing. Good pass to find Newberg as he enters in and gets a shot on goal. Newberg corrals his own shot. Listmayer with a one-timer that goes off of the heel of his stick with 20 seconds to go.
I like that shot selection by Newberg there. Low to the pads, it generates rebounds.
Here's Newberg again with a shot attempt that kisses off the glass and makes its way to Listmayer. Listmayer with a redirection out in front and hit it off the stick of Bonnell, and Paulin with a good job of tracking the shot. Now with 3 seconds to go in the period, the Hat Tricks will merely retreat back to their own net, and that will do it for the second period. As the Hat Tricks are able to score the lone goal in the frame, they escape with a 3-2 lead despite facing numerous amounts of pressure from the Port Huron Prowlers. What did you see from Nick Nieder in that period that kept them in this game?
I saw a whole lot of saves. I saw a veteran goaltender doing a great job of tracking the puck through a lot of traffic. I also saw a defense that, while it's collapsing, they started doing better with getting the puck out of the zone. Unfortunately, there were a few shifts during that period where they had guys out there far too long. They start running around. That's where a team that perhaps has a better feel for each other than the Port Huron Prowlers do here in the very first game of the season. You know, if the Danbury Hat Tricks are running around like that around game 30 or 40 against this Port Huron team, Dalton Jay or Matt Robertson's going to find the back of the net. But for now, Danbury, they only secured, 9 shots on goal in that period. But most importantly, at the minute 38 mark, Johnny Ruiz, his second of the game.
Ruiz has been the difference for the Danbury Hat Tricks. They take a 3-2 lead into the third period. We'll be back for coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks against the Port Huron Prowlers on the Danbury Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere.